Yeah, so Lev, I think that's a perfect transition to a question I wanted to ask you about, what are the questions we do want to answer or have answered in higher ed? And particularly, where should colleges and universities place their bet? There's been so much discussion in the press about AI in the classroom and for research. But it's interesting when I've spoken to senior leadership teams and trustees just at several types of different institutions just over the last couple of weeks, indeed. One of the exercises I do with them often is, okay, get up, and if you think AI is gonna have more impact in the classroom, move to this side of the room. And if you think AI is gonna have more impact in the short term on services and the administrative side of the house, move to this side of the room. And what's really interesting is that the overwhelming response, at least from these few universities I've spoken to, from the administrative side again, and from trustees, is that they really think the impact is going to be on the administrative and services side, at least again in the short term, not on the classroom and learning side. So what do you think? Is this? I know this is not either or here.
Right, it's certainly not binary.
But binary.
It's certainly
but what
not
do you
binary.
think? Yeah.
And Jeff, what I'd share with you is that the area that we're likely to see the nearest term impact is actually in research. So I know this is only a subset of of all the schools and colleges that are out there, but the use of AI both in its application for discovery and the ways in which researchers and the workflow associated with submitting grants and applications are already, there's a high market motivation to begin to leverage these tools for that kind of outcome. And so that at least for a research university, and the truth is, independent researchers, no matter where you are in a liberal arts college or at a research intensive institution, the moment is not too soon to be really leveraging the technology. In terms of then the other sort of legs of the stool, I actually do agree with the idea, and we're working at this here at ASU because it is a complex use of the technology for enterprise use, not for an individual course or even an individual, perhaps even a degree, but for the whole enterprise. It's an early moment and it's a complicated moment. And so what we are doing, and this is consistent with at least part of the folks in the room that you had moved to side, is actually focusing in on the administrative side of the house, not at all to the exclusion of any uses of AI that are facing our students and their families, but in particular to try to actually get the value, to outline the value of AI. So for example, at ASU, we have 2 million calls a year into our experience center, which is our call center. We've just come through the beginning of the school year, and financial aid generates over 250,000 inbound calls. We were able to use AI in two ways. One was for our call attendants to be able to actually essentially use a generative AI interface to all of the knowledge base articles that were there, rather than saying, I know where to click to get the answer. So it was literally a dialogue that the attendants used. And then an opportunity also for students to begin to have more of a generative experience querying the tier one kinds of challenges. And we knocked out 34% of all of the inbound calls using basically this technology as a way of engaging with it. So like the idea of creating concierge infrastructure for all of the back house of the institution, we're not unique in higher education. That's where a lot of effort is being used right now. But we're also using it in all kinds of classroom and instructional purposes. And we have really at ASU, we actually went out to the campus community and asked them what challenges they wanted to solve. A relatively small subset of them were around the back of the house, if you will, the administrative functions. We've had over 500 grant submissions, and of the 254 that are in flight, well over 200 of them are actually classroom focused, and they're individual faculty working with either their research teams or their students to actually advance work, things like question banks, syllabus, competency frameworks, all of that kind of tool that are being used, to advance that part of administering the classroom experience.